Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the next instalment of the Village Law Initial Consultation. I'm Darren Ludden, admin at SEQFC, and tonight we've got someone who certainly wasn't on my radar until last year when we found out that he was trialling with the Central Coast Mariners. I've also since found out that he's come back from Spain. That's all I know about him. Let's meet him and find out some more. So, without any further ado, Bailey Waern. Good evening.
Hey Darren, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight. Now, you were at Beerwah Glasshouse last season.
Yeah.
You're 19 years old and you're a defender, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So things have gone a little bit crazy good for you in the past 12 months, yeah?
Yeah, things have been pretty good in the last 12 months, obviously, up until now. But yes, it's been very good for me.
All right. So before we get into that, let's start with your junior career.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up? Where did you play?
So I grew up on the Sunshine Coast. I played at Buderim most of my youth career, and then I went to Fire for under 15s and under 16s. And then from there, I went over to played with BGs, the first team over there. And then after that, I went down to Moreton Bay. So I was only 18, just turned 18. Went down to Moreton Bay, played under 20s there, and trained a lot with the first team down there. And then I came back up, played again for Beerwah because I wasn't quite getting the first team I wanted. Came back up, played some more first team here, and then went down to Central Coast, like you said. Went for trials down there for Central Coast, for Newcastle Jets. And that I sort of lucked out there. I got down there and they told me that it was a year too old. So they wanted someone with a couple of years that could play in the youth system for a while, and someone they could coach for a while. So yeah, it didn't turn out the way I'd hoped, but that's football, isn't it? And after that, sort of was searching for my next step and got this gig in Spain, and I took it with both hands. I thought, why not? What an opportunity! So, yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. Let's go back to your junior career at Buderim.
Mm-hmm.
Were you always playing in defence there?
Yeah, I was always the defender. It was just came natural to me.
Always played in defence.
Yeah.
Okay. Were there any coaches there that that just you absolutely took to and learned so much from?
Yeah. Peter, he was a great coach. He helped me really solidify my defense, picked up my little weaknesses, and he got me a pretty strong defender back then, and then sort of set me up for the rest of it. Yeah.
Okay. And the decision to leave Buderim, that was obviously because the Fire had identified you, had they?
Yeah. So in under 14s, I think it was, I was a shadow at Buderim, at Fire, sorry. And then the year after, I went to trials again. Obviously, I proved myself at training and stuff. And again, I made trials and I made it into the Sunshine Coast Fire from there.
Okay. Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got 4 siblings. So I got 3 younger brothers and 1 younger sister.
And do they all play as well?
My brothers do, yes. I'm trying to teach them a little bit and take them for a kick as much as I can. But yeah, they play football.
Okay. And are they at Buderim?
One is, he used to be at Buderim. He's just gone to Kwana recently.
Okay. So you're the one leading the way for all your brothers and sisters and saying, follow me, guys.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm the big brother, the role model, I guess. So I got to show them how it's done and then teach them the ways.
Right. Okay, so you've gone from the Fire to, where was the next move?
Then I went to BGs.
BGs, okay.
Yeah.
And that was just to get more playing experience?
So, that was to get the first team experience. Fire sort of split off at that time. A lot of players left, and I wasn't really too sure where to go. And I got an offer to go play for a first team in the local comp, and it was a great experience for how old I was. I was only 16, I think, most of that year. So it was a good experience for me at that age.
And you're playing in the top team?
Yeah, I was playing in first team, started almost every game. Yeah.
Okay. So what did you learn? What did you learn from that experience?
The playing against the older boys definitely taught me a lot, like how I should play as a defender against the bigger boys, because I obviously wasn't the biggest of defenders. But yeah, I just had to use my speed and use my ability in the air to outwit them, and it taught me a lot because at the time they were a lot stronger than me, so I had to play around them however I could, and stop them from scoring as much as I could, and yeah, it definitely improved me as a player.
They must have had a lot of faith in you to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, so the coach there was Daniel Carew, and he, yeah, put a lot of faith in me, putting me at the centre back there and then.
And your centre back partner was he experienced?
Yeah, he was very experienced. Yeah, he was an experienced player and taught me a lot as well that year.
Okay. What's his name?
Dan Michelle.
Feel free to give shout outs whenever you can,
Yeah, yeah,
Bailey.
okay, yeah, for sure.
All right. So I'm guessing then that the pathway for you was through the fire, and then it stalled a bit. So BG's was the sort of the workaround, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I dropped back there, and I knew DK was a good coach, so I had put my faith in him, and I thought going there for a year wouldn't hurt me as much because he was a coach at the Fire, and he was well renowned, and yeah, I followed him, and yeah, he helped me become the player I am, I guess, as well.
Okay. So you're not making any rep teams at this stage, are you?
No, so I wasn't, other than the Sunshine Coast Fire at the time, I wasn't making any rep teams. And yeah, I just had that first year with BGs.
Okay. So then the move to Moreton Bay.
Yeah.
Tell us.
So before that, I had trials at the Raw. I had a 6-week trial there.
So you're getting identified, and you think it's that the fact that you're a 16-year-old playing in the heart of defence,
Yeah.
people are going, right, who's that kid?
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, it was pretty much that probably made it. And that got me the gig down at Raw, and it was a good long haul there. It was there pretty much their whole preseason. So I was there for 6 weeks, their big preseason haul, getting the boys fit, and it got me fit for that year as well. And yeah, I felt I did well and trained well. I just got cut at the very end, just didn't make the squad, I guess. But yeah, that's how it is.
How far off were you?
What's that? Sorry.
How far off were you when you got cut?
I was at the last stage, so I was the last cut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Break your heart?
A little bit, but it was at the time it felt like they'd still sort of keep in contact. They said play in Brisbane, and we'll keep in contact and see what we can do for you next year. And so I went down to Moreton Bay, had a year there, and yeah, it sort of just dropped off after that. I didn't really hear from them as much as I'd hoped. But yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah.
So with this rejection, I mean, we talked to Michael Thwaite last week, and his whole career was just full of rejection.
Yeah.
And overcoming. So
yeah.
When that occurs, did you have that mindset that we'll just keep plodding on? This will lead to something else?
Yeah. So my mindset was just to show them that I'm worthy of playing there and do better again the next year. So I went to Moreton Bay hoping to play some NPL first team there and do well there as well. And yeah, I just went with the mindset of I've got to work hard and play better and show them that I deserve to be there.
Okay. And how'd Moreton Bay go?
It was a good experience. I trained a lot of the first team there and benched a decent amount of first team games, but I didn't get as much first team as I'd hoped. So the preseason was very promising. I was playing the first team, and then I went and played a lot of the 20s. I sat a couple of first team bench games, but yeah, it was not as I'd hoped for, but it was a good year. I learned a lot. It was very fast, very good teams there. So it was a good year.
And some pretty handy defenders at the club at that stage too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. It was a good experience backline then as well. So that taught me a lot. So it was difficult to break through over those boys.
Yeah. All right. So you then go back to BG's. Is that was that like a security blanket for you to make that decision?
Yeah, I feel like it was. I spoke to DK and I knew I could get guaranteed first team game time. So I spoke to him and he said, yeah, we can get you back in. Make sure you're playing first team games. You're getting your game time up. And it was just a year, I guess, to rebuild that first team, like, that I want to be a first team player instead of playing in like the under 20s and the youth age groups. So I went back there and played a year there, and it was a good year. I was a bit bigger, a bit stronger. I knew how to handle the men a bit, so it was a good experience again, and just to build my confidence back in that I'm capable of playing at that level, I guess. So it was a good rebuild year, like you said, a security blanket. It was good to go back there and rebuild myself.
Your parents live on the Sunshine Coast, of course.
Yeah, parents live on the Sunshine Coast. They're in Kawana.
And how have they assisted you with these decisions that you've had to make at this stage?
They've been very supportive. I wouldn't have been able to do what I did without them. They drove me down a fair bit for the trials as well with Raw and all that. So all those experiences, I wasn't able to drive myself, and it was good having them there to help me out. And they come to a lot of the games and they support me through everything I do. So I'm so grateful I have them by my side every step of the way.
Very good answer. Well done. Easter this weekend. That's good.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. So you've got your game back last season, and the scouts come calling again. So when contact was made, did you know that the Mariners had been watching you? Did they, does anyone sit there with the CCM jacket on in the crowd?
Yeah, I didn't really see anyone watching as such to a game or anything, so it was sort of out of the blue for me. I just sort of got a call from my coach saying that I might get a call from a Mariners coach and, organise these trials. So it was a bit out of the blue for me, but it was a great call. It was a good call to get, and it was very exciting times ahead. So then I went down, organised the trip, and went down to Central Coast for a week.
That moment when you find out,
it was
trying to stay as cool as possible on the phone and then going nuts afterwards?
Yeah, a little bit like that. So trying to stay as cool as possible, but I knew my job wasn't done yet because I still had the week trial. I had to impress. So it was, staying cool and making sure I didn't get too over my head because obviously I still had trials and nothing was guaranteed. There was only trials.
Sure. Tell me how the Mariners do their trials. How does it work? You show up on a Monday morning at what time?
Yeah, so I got down there and I showed up. I think it was be there 7 o'clock for a 7:30 training, and it was not what I was used to. The morning trainings, I was used to training in the afternoon and having a good little sleep in. But yeah, it was a good change, I think. So we got there early in the morning, and then you just join in with the session with the boys. So they trained, I think, 4 times that week. So it was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And I just jumped in those sessions, and they just, I guess, analysed me throughout the trial.
How many people are trialing with you?
At that stage, there was only one other trialist. It was just me and another trialist.
Okay. From Queensland?
He was from Sydney, I think. Yeah. So it was just a New South Wales boy.
Okay. So it's just the two of you. You're trying to crack a spot in their squad. How are the teammates? How are the guys? Are they accepting of you, or is this guy's coming to take my spot?
Yeah, I think most of them were pretty accepting of me. So obviously the first day they don't know me. It was just I'd have to try and go around, shake their hand, get a good impression to start off with. But yeah, it was most of them were very accepting and just they must have had trialists in the past and they know how it works. So yeah, they were accepting and quite welcoming, which was good and made things a bit easier the next few days.
What was your strategy there? Did you try and make small talk with the captain of the team, or?
No, it was sort of like everyone. I'm fighting against all the other players, so it was be nice up front, but you got to do your job when you get to training. So yeah, on the field, everything changes.
Sure. So day one, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I felt it was fast. It was a good session, and I felt like I was up to scratch. And all the sessions, I felt like I was up to scratch, and I felt I trained well. I did what I had to, but maybe didn't have as much like maybe games to show off that I'm a decent defender. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I had much opportunity to prove myself as a player, but the sessions were good, and I felt I kept up with them, and yeah, they were good.
Okay. How many people are watching you?
There's I think three coaches. So there's the main coach, the assistant coach, and then there was another separate I think trainer coach on the side, sports
Okay.
coach or something. Yeah, so they're all analyzing and watching how you train, I guess.
So you get to the end of the week and they go, then they tell you that they're not interested. Are they kind about it? Are they just rip the Band-Aid off? They say, sorry, mate, see ya.
They're kind about it, but they rip the band-aid at the same time. So they're like, "Thank you for coming down, and but sorry, there's not a spot for you at this stage." It was kind, but yeah, they had to rip the band-aid off as well.
Okay. How did Newcastle come about then?
I had a contact through Daniel Carew. He had a friend who played for Newcastle in previous years, and he just got in touch with the coach and got the trial for me as well while I was down there, which was amazing of him. And I thank Zach Anderson for that trial. And yeah, it was a good experience as well. It was very similar to the Central Coast.
Okay. Same adrenaline going through your veins as you're hitting the park?
Yeah, I was a bit more comfortable. I feel like going to the park because I knew now that I'd been through Central Coast, but and I knew I had a job to do, and so not as much. I'd say adrenaline running through. I was more comfortable, but I was still ready to go and do a job, and it was, I guess, a bit more nerve wracking now that I didn't have the Central Coast confirmed. So it was that now that was had fallen through. I had to make sure I had an impression on these guys.
Okay. Did
Mm.
you get to keep anything from those trials? Or just
No, I didn't get any kit or anything. No, I had to give it all back.
yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame, isn't it?
Yes. So did you get to finish the season with Beerwah?
Yeah, so I finished the season with BOR and then went down there after it. I think they still had a couple of weeks left or something. They still had finals coming up, so they got me in like a week before they had finals. So it was good.
Right. Now this is all done without an agent, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about Spain.
All right. So after they fell through, I came home and I'm half Swedish. I have my dad is from Sweden. So I was planning on getting a Swedish passport to get like to make it easier to travel through Europe. And I had friends from Nambour, and they were the Nix brothers, the Corey, Callum, and yeah, those three. They I spoke to them because I knew they had contacts in Sweden. So I sat down and had a chat to them, planning on going because I got family over there as well. Planning on going for a trip to Sweden, maybe have a couple of trials, try and play football there for a couple of years. Yeah, had a chat with them. They were promising about it. They said they'd get back to me and see what they could find. They got back to me a week later asking me if I wanted to go to Spain. So it was very out of the blue. They just had a call from a friend in England that apparently had started a Fulham Academy in Spain, an international Fulham Academy.
Right.
And they said the academy has basically started. If you want to go, there's this football academy in Spain. Basically, that's was pretty much all. It was a very professional setup, and yeah, they told me everything was covered. All the accommodation and food over there was covered. You just had to get yourself there. And I thought I was in a bit of a middle section where I didn't know what to do at that stage, and I was like, what an opportunity! I get to travel a bit. I get to see Spain, live there for a bit, and play football in one of the best footballing countries in the world. So I took it with both hands, and a week later, I'm on a plane to Spain.
And where was the camp based?
The camp was based in just outside Valencia. So they had a little hotel there, and then they had a football pitch and a pool and a gym all in their facility, which was good.
And that went well.
Yeah. So it was training with a Spanish club, just a lower league division down in Spain, in Valencia. And then it was playing for the academy against some good under-20 sides.
How far down the ladder was it?
It was like Division 5 or 6, I think. So it was good to play against those players and see that I'm capable of playing in that division, I guess, at least.
Are players getting paid in that competition?
In that competition, there was a small amount of money, but not much getting. There wasn't much players getting like, much money for games. It was just fuel money by the sounds of it.
More money flowing on the sunny coast?
I wouldn't say too much more money flowing on the sunny coast, but it was more money than the Sunshine Coast, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you're still playing in defence?
Yeah, still playing defence, so still playing centre back, and then obviously I'm capable of playing full back as an outlet as well. So I've got that. If I need to be, I can play full back.
Sure.
Mm.
All right. So it's the move's going well. You're in Valencia.
Yeah.
Did you find a spot to stay and all that? Oh, that was already sorted out for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we were staying in the academy. It was all covered as well, which was awesome. So someone had invested into the academy and scholarshiped us. There was two other Australians that came with me, which was good to have some people from home soil. And met players from all over the world, and yeah, we became a pretty good side. It was a good experience, and we played some good teams, some Division 1 teams and Division 2 under-20s teams, and I felt like we were doing well. And the academy was just getting a bit of momentum, and then the virus sort of happened and pulled everything to a stop.
Okay.
Mm.
So Spain obviously didn't treat the situation as well as possibly they could have, given a second chance.
Yeah, exactly.
So how bad was it? Why did that happen? Is it because they just let things go? They didn't do the lockdown?
Yeah, so I think it was they sort of let things go at the time. They didn't think it was too serious. The Spanish are very relaxed, so maybe they didn't think it was going to affect them too bad. And they had a festival on as well, so that probably promoted the spread of it.
Right.
So there was a lot of people from all over the world in one place at the same time, and that was I think it probably boosted the spread of the virus in Spain.
So how did coming home eventuate?
Yeah, so we were in the academy training normally, and then all of a sudden the game got cancelled because of the virus, and we were all a bit shocked. You know, everything was still training as normal, and people were coming in, and everything was going normal. And then next week, everyone was in lockdown. The whole of Spain was in lockdown. Not many people could come in. Our hotel and resort sort of put us in lockdown. We weren't training for a week there. We were just all sort of in the middle zone, sort of waiting to see how this virus would pan out, I guess. And yeah, we were just seeing what happened, and eventually we got the call saying the academy had been cancelled because of the coronavirus, and we want to get everyone home safe to their families, just to make sure that we deal with this coronavirus situation properly.
Mm. Did they give you any assurances when they let you go?
Yeah, they assured us that we'd keep in contact and that they'd try and provide a trial in Cyprus for me and the other two Australians after this coronavirus thing had happened. But this corona thing has panned out a lot and seems like it's going to go for a lot longer than expected. So yeah, we'll see what happens after it.
Okay. When you go back, is there going to be anything that you do differently? Are you going to be a little bit more prepared? Like you'll have an agent in tow when you go back or something like that?
Not so much. I'll have those guys from the academy helping me out. So maybe there'll be a part agent at the time. But it'll be a bit more just to make sure I put everything on the line. This is what I want to be doing. This is the contract I want to get. Just make sure I work hard and impress at the time. So just, basically prepare and make sure I do the right things.
And in Spain, the style, how different is it?
It's not very different. As much as I thought, the lower leagues are very similar. So it's very similar. Obviously, the higher you go up, the Spanish are very so against the good teams when we play them, they're very structured and they like to pass the ball around a fair bit and keep the ball as much as they can. They're very technical and all very good players. But yeah, it's just I feel like they don't have the in the teams we play, they didn't have the physical aspect at that time.
So you think that that in Australia, the physicality of our players is our little edge in one
Yeah,
aspect of the game.
yeah. I feel like we've got definitely a little edge. We just got this. The Australians have this drive about us that give us a bit of hunger and a bit of aggression, which helps us, which is good.
It's good to hear. Good to hear. All right, so this has obviously sparked a fire for you, Bailey. Your heart seems set on that Europe is the place where you think you can, well, certainly give it the red hot go anyway.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I definitely want to give it a crack after this is all over. I still want to go travel and explore and see if I can find a contract, find a couple of clubs that maybe I can settle down with and make either half a living or just a good experience.
Do you have a fallback plan?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm studying at university doing business. So I'm just
Okay.
doing that online as I go.
And did you have a part-time job in Spain? Is there anything like that, or is it just pro football?
In Spain, it was just football. So we trained in the mornings. We had Spanish class. We learned a bit of Spanish while we were there as well. And then, yeah, just it was all about football.
Right, the dream.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
Fantastic. All right, Bailey. Well, thank you so much for the chat. It's nice to come across stories like yours. When I saw that you'd had the trial with the Mariners, I thought it was just so refreshing to see that that anyone anywhere, as long as you prove yourself or can be a big fish in a small pond, you'll get your chance. So it's great. Congratulations, and hopefully, when things get back on track, you can make a real go of it and do us all proud.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully it all works out. So we'll see how we go.
Good stuff. All right, Bailey. Thank you so much for the Village Law initial consultation.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.